From wasting billions of dollars on the metaverse to relying on Apple for user data for the platform, here's everything wrong about Mark Zuckerberg's Meta. Zuckerberg made the bold decision to change the name of Facebook to Meta Platforms because they got so dang huge with all those acquisitions like Instagram and WhatsApp. But the most shocking part of this move wasn't the name change itself. Zuck's been obsessing over the metaverse since Facebook bought Oculus, the fancy virtual reality headset company, back in 2014. He thought that the metaverse would be the next big thing, especially with everyone stuck at home during the pandemic.
In our DNA, we are a company that builds technology to connect people. And the metaverse is the next frontier, just like social networking was.
But virtual reality hasn't gained as much popularity as he expected. I mean, who wants to live in a virtual world all the time? It's a bit too much, you know. People enjoy being able to put down their phones and engage in other activities. But these virtual reality headsets take over all your senses, trapping you inside. I wouldn't want to live in a fake world all the time. I don't know about you. Mark had these grand dreams of 1 billion people using Meta's virtual world, but so far, it's been a major flop. Their first attempt, called Horizon Worlds, could only attract 200,000 users by the end of 2022, and this was way below expectations.
Then there is Horizon Worlds, which is where you can build worlds and jump into them with people.
Meta's spent over $10 billion on virtual reality, and their flagship app's graphics still look worse than a game from 2008. Even Kevin Roose, this tech dude from the New York Times, straight up called them out on their sorry excuse for graphics, and you won't believe it, but Zuck himself had to swallow his pride and admit that the graphics were nothing more than pretty basic. He did promise that some major updates were on the horizon, but let's see if they can deliver the goods this time. I won't hold my breath though, because the whole concept isn't cool. And Zuck isn't exactly the epitome of coolness either. Facebook hasn't been cool since forever. And that's an issue, because people won't buy into something that doesn't make them look good. If you can convince them that it's cool, they'll jump on board. Right now, the whole metaverse thing is uncool. And it's not just the avatars that suck. You have to strap this bulky headset, Meta's 400 Quest device, just to enter the metaverse. Sure, it may look sleek, but come on, it's a computer on your freaking head. Plus, these technical limitations ruin the experience, because VR avatars need to respond to our movements in real time, which requires a lot of computing power. I'm talking about sensors all over the body just to make the darn thing work. And even if they had the technology to create avatars that look real, we'd still have to deal with something called the uncanny valley effect. Basically, the more realistic they look, the more weirded out we get, which is a tricky situation. Meta's pouring billions into an unfinished vision that nobody wants, and they're relying on Zuckerberg to sell it to us. Well, good luck with that. The fact that Zuck was mocked for his avatar post should serve as a warning sign for everyone. Things aren't looking good. And it's not just the users who are bummed out. The investors are getting seriously ticked off too. Meta's been throwing around billions like confetti trying to make this happen, and they're still not raking in the dough. Not even close. In fact, their metaverse division, Reality Labs, has taken a whopping hit of $39 billion in losses since 2019. Dang, that's gotta hurt. To make matters worse, other companies like Microsoft and Disney have also given up on VR. Yet Meta still wants to invest in the VR world. And now in a desperate move, they're allowing children as young as 10 years old to enter the metaverse. Parents are freaking out about privacy and safety concerns, since spending a lot of time on social media already messes with a kid's mental health, and now they're sticking them in a virtual world. That's only asking for trouble. But hey, if you're a preteen, you'll need your parents' approval to set up your account, since they don't want you getting into any trouble. But let's not kid ourselves, because it only goes to show that Meta's only focused on chasing profits and not genuinely concerned about what's best for kids. Even within Meta, employees aren't sold on Zuckerberg's enthusiasm. Mark wanted everyone to use Meta's Horizon Workrooms app for meetings where they can relax in virtual conference rooms. But many employees didn't have VR headsets, or hadn't set them up yet, so they had to scramble and buy the gadgets before their boss found out. It was total chaos. And according to a survey of 1,000 Meta employees by Blind, a secretive social network for professionals, only 58% said they actually understood what the company's metaverse strategy was. Can you believe that? People inside Meta are also complaining about high turnover and being constantly shuffled around as Zuck changes his mind, so it's like a never-ending roller coaster of confusion. Some folks jokingly call metaverse projects MMH, which stands for Make Mark Happy. In May 2022, Vishal Shah, the big shot in charge of the metaverse division, posted on some secret message board that he was bummed out about how not many Meta employees were using their fancy Horizon Workrooms app, and he even threatened to start spying on who was using it. Whoa, that's some serious micromanaging right there. And then there's John Carmack, who previously worked for Oculus, and he's got a bone to pick with Zuckerberg's metaverse dreams. According to him, all the cash they're pouring into the metaverse is downright crazy. crazy, and he thinks it's a total waste since Meta is too caught up in boring stuff like bureaucracy, diversity, and privacy concerns. He's been vocal about his opinions, but Zuck means business since he gathered the Meta crew and delivered a clear message. Either get with the program or hit the road. No more messing around. During a meeting, he openly said that there might be individuals on the team who shouldn't even be there, raising the bar on expectations and goals. They've slammed the brakes on hiring and tightened those purse strings, and managers are now on a mission to weed out the underperformers. It's a make or break moment for the Meta team, so some employees have started to show more enthusiasm for the project to avoid being let go. They've been having more meetings in Horizon workrooms recently, but it hasn't been smooth sailing as some technical glitches mess it up and the company needs to go back to good old Zoom. Talk about a bumpy road. On top of Meta's issues with the metaverse, it looks like Facebook's glory days of massive user growth are fading away. Sure, they're still gaining users for apps like Instagram, Messenger, and WhatsApp, but the main Facebook app lost nearly 500,000 users. It's like a downward spiral, signaling that Facebook might have hit its peak. The tides are shifting, and the big shots at Meta are now exploring other avenues for growth, such as making bank with WhatsApp, which itself hasn't quite hit the jackpot yet. And investors are left wondering if Instagram and other Meta-owned apps will also see new users fading away. And when you thought things couldn't get any worse, Meta started facing antitrust concerns too. The Federal Trade Commission and state attorneys general are investigating them for unfair competition practices.
Pretty much impossible, I believe, to start a company in your dorm room and then grow it to be at the scale that we're at now without making some mistakes.
And lawmakers are cooking up antitrust laws that could make life even harder for Meta. The tables have surely turned. If all these issues weren't enough, Apple's privacy changes are also making things worse for Meta. They introduced an update called App Tracking Transparency, which lets iPhone users decide if they want apps like Facebook to watch what they do online. Many people said no thanks, so Facebook has lesser user data to use for targeted ads, which is a big way they make money. The problem is, iPhone users are a more valuable audience for advertisers compared to Android users because iPhone users spend more on products and apps. Apple's changes mean advertisers can't see user behavior as well, so many of them are moving their ad money to Google instead. In their earnings report, Google announced record sales, especially from ads in e-commerce searches, and that's the same kind of ads that gave Meta trouble in the last quarter of 2021. Google doesn't rely on Apple as much for user data, and they have more third-party data to make ads better. It's not just Google, though. TikTok's also giving Meta a major headache. They've got over 1 billion users and are going head-to-head with Instagram. So what does Meta do? They copy TikTok with a feature called Instagram Reels, but it's not raking in the cash like Instagram's other features. Seems like those video ads on Reels get skipped left and right, which is bad news for Meta's bank account. So there you have it. From relying on Apple for user data to wasting billions of dollars on the metaverse, that was everything wrong about Mark Zuckerberg's Meta.